Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you, everybody, to be here with us today. As you might to know, we are commemorating 1 year of Connectory, and we have a lot of special events for you. Maybe you have a look on others that you have just have here. Today, we will talk about technology, indeed about tech trend scouting. I think I think you like it. It would be a very interesting topic for us, for all of us. And for that, we are proud to have here an international team of specialists to talk about that, to talk about trend scouting for technology. Before to hand over to Melanie, I would like to ask you, please put your comments in the chat, because after the presentation, you have a Q&A section, and of course, you will try to answer all your questions. So, saying that, I hope you like it, and I would like to now ask Melanie to be stage. So Melanie, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for this warm welcome and, of course, the opportunity to contribute to the first anniversary of the Connectory in Brazil, and, of course, to have the chance to present Bosch and its great capabilities in regards to IT innovations. My name is Melanie. I'm located here in Germany. Right now, it's 2 p.m. at my side. In this presentation, I will get supported by 2 other colleagues. Guido, our trend scout, he's also located in Germany, but unfortunately, we are not able to sit next to each other due to Corona. We are stuck here in home office since several months, but gradually we get used to it. And there is also my dear colleague Arias. Arias is located in Singapore. Singapore is 6 hours ahead of Germany. So right now it's 8 p.m. at Arias' side. So this is a quite international setup over different time zones. And I'm glad that we managed it for our friends in Brazil and for our friends around the world. The presentation which we prepared for you is divided into 3 parts. First, I will give you a short overview of Bosch and in particularly the innovation department of the corporate IT which we belong to. Then I will show you our innovation process which we follow to accelerate IT innovations. Then I will hand over to Guido, and Guido will do a deep dive on the first phase of our innovation process, the trend scouting. And he will explain to you how we select the relevant tech trends for Bosch and what happens after the selection. Guido will illustrate this process using the current hot tech trend, intelligent automation. Then we will go to Singapore to meet Arias. And Arias will show you the innovation journey of a prototype he developed in aquaculture, so-called Aqua Easy. Arias and his team implement a digital platform based on artificial intelligence to optimize the shrimp farming. After the presentation, you will have an idea of our innovation process from the beginning, scanning the market, discovering new business opportunities, to the end, developing an innovation with great impact for Bosch. Before we start with the presentation, let's meet our speakers, Guido and Arias, for a short introduction. Guido, would you like to start and introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Guido, and my job at Bosch is to scan the external market for IT trends and consult and provide advice to our executives and to our strategic initiatives.
Thank you, Arias.
Hi, Arias here. Hello, everybody. I'm the co-founder of Aqua Easy. It's a Bosch internal startup, which Aqua Easy aims to transform shrimp farming. I do believe shrimp farming is also quite popular in Brazil and South America. So my background is computer scientist, basically from the education background. And I have worked for several domains like banking, supply chain, and also automotive. So very nice to be here. Thank you very much, Melanie.
Thank you, Guido and Aris. We will come back to you very shortly. For those who are not familiar with Bosch, let me give you a short overview of this great company we all work for. Bosch is a leading global supplier of technology and services, and our passion is to improve the quality of life worldwide. In short, Bosch creates technology that is invented for life. This is our mission, and this is what we work on every day. Bosch is divided into 4 business sectors. The mobility solutions, which is the biggest part and generates most of our revenue, the industrial technology, the energy and building technology, and the consumer goods. All these 4 business sectors are supported by central functions, and the corporate IT, which we belong to, is one of it. We deliver dynamic and business-driven IT to all these 4 business sectors and, of course, to the other central functions. To give you an idea of the size of Bosch and to its invention power, let me highlight 3 figures. At Bosch, we are roughly 400,000 associates, and almost 20% are working in research and development. In 2019, we invested 6.1 billion euros only in R&D. I think these figures are a clear signal for our mission and an evidence that we take our mission very seriously. At the corporate IT, we are more than 8,000 associates, and we have a budget of 1.5 billion euros to serve our customers with core IT, such as workplaces, computing power, networking applications, and IT innovations. Driving IT innovations that matter. This is the passion of the department Advanced Development Guido, Aries, and I work for. Here you can see a comprehensive overview of the technologies we believe they are important for the future and therefore we work on. More than 50% of our innovations projects, which we are currently running, deal with applied artificial intelligence, such as immersive technologies, virtual assistant, or natural language processing. Beside that, we also develop innovative solutions based on the technologies blockchain and edge computing. To make sure that we are focusing on the most promising tech trends, we also have the discipline trend scouting in our team and offer this as a service to the business sectors and the other central functions of Bosch. To make our daily work more understandable to you, let me show you our innovation process, which we follow to accelerate IT innovations. Either the innovation journey starts with a new tech trend as an outcome of trend scouting, or the customer approaches us with a problem he needs a solution for. We take this input and explore the environment. Tools, for example, from the design thinking process help us to get a better understanding of this new tech trend or the customer problem and to get a rough idea of a potential solution. To concretize this idea and to drive it to a more mature state, we explore its market potential, we work on the feasibility and the scalability of the solution. In this work, we collaborate with various and diverse external and internal partners to get a deep insight of the topic and to approach it from different perspectives. After we have validated and proven our concept and demonstrated its feasibility with a prototype, we transfer it to the associates of the future happy home of the solution for incubation. Of course, these different phases are not strictly separated from each other, and they are not always in this order. As far as our experience goes, we need to apply this innovation process very flexible and give innovators the freedom to jump between these different phases. At the end of the day, we look for a product or a service which is innovative and powerful and improves the quality of life. You remember? Bosch invents for life. This is our mission, and this is what we work on every day. So now let me hand over to my dear colleague Guido for a deep dive in trend scouting. Guido?
Yep. Thanks, Melanie. Wonderful introduction. So let me share with you now a little bit more detail regarding how we do our trends analysis within Bosch. So like you can see from the graph here, we use as one of our main sources of information the full database of trends tracked by Gartner. Probably you know Gartner from the top technology trend studies that are very famous. And we use 1,700 plus trends as a foundation for our analysis yearly, plus input from our associates and partners. And like you can see here from this graph that probably you recognize if you are an IT person as one of the most recognizable patterns from Gartner that is called the hype cycle. You can see here in the curve describing what is a typical path that you can follow in a trend from when it's an R&D in R&D phase to when the first startup starts to appear in the domain, up to the peak of inflated expectations where everyone is expecting that this technology will change the world, and so on, until on the right part of the graph, until the technology has been adopted and used efficiently in 20-30% of the potential market. So when you reach the right part of this graph, you are far from having achieved everything, but at least the technology has been mature quite enough. So when we do our analysis, of course, we want to ensure that we grab the new trends when they are still in the ramping up phase. So here on the left that you can see. So where there's still a lot of traction on the new trends, then we analyze, of course, what is the current maturity level. Is a trend an ideal candidate for pilots, for example? Is it expected to be productive in the following 2 to 5 years? And a lot of other criteria in order to filter down from 1,700 trends to around 50 trends that we should analyze in more details. Then we go into another very manual session discussing internally all of these trends. And then the final results that you can see here in the following slide, it is really our existing and actual technology radar for IT topics in 2020. We come back to a set of 15, 20 maximum technologies that we keep in our radar in focus in order to see what are potential developments in that area. You can see, for example, that in 2020, you can see the orange ones, the one marked with new. These have appeared in our technology radar just these years, while the blue ones were there already the years before. And we started to do this exercise already years ago when advanced development was first established within Bosch. And you can see that we try as well to group the different technology and trends into different domains that are relevant for us, like artificial intelligence, digital business and transformation, infrastructure, and so on. And of course, that there are some overlappings because some of these trends are, of course, relevant for multiple domains. So what we did, of course, years ago was just to collect the trends, present the trends, and discuss them. And what we discovered in the last years is that in order to achieve a higher level of influence within Bosch, we had to do a more structured approach to trends analysis, and not just to identify the trends, but try to connect the trends with the respective strategic answer within the company. So that's why we established recently, this year, actually, this rapid trend framing method that consists of 5 steps. So we start sharing insights about the trend. Then we involve executives or business representatives from Bosch into an evaluation phase of the trends. Is that relevant for us? Is that relevant for Bosch? And then we discuss what are the existing activities. We map it to what we are doing, and then we see what we need to do, what we need to change in order to address this trend properly. So it's a full circle from identifying a trend up to defining and deciding a proper answer to it. So we've done it this year already for a couple of trends, like you can see, Edge AI and API-based digital commerce. Today, I want to share you some of these steps, not in full blown, of course, just a small summary of it, of what we've done for intelligent automated services recently. so that you can have a feeling regarding how this process works in real life. So when we consider a trend, the first thing that we start with is with the definition. Quite often with new trends, for example, intelligent automation, you could have a different understanding of what we mean with that. So there is a lot of uncertainty regarding names of trends. Think about cloud. Cloud is a term that now everyone understands, but a few years ago there were so many different ways to express that concept as a trend, but still not finalized under the word cloud. There was automated server computing and a lot of other terms, but at the end, the term that you all know today is cloud. Intelligent automation could lead to misunderstanding. So that's why when you present a new trend, you need to make clear what you're talking about with your audience in order to initiate this internal discussion. And in this case, the definition that we use is quite simple, that intelligent automation is a combination of robotic process automation and artificial intelligence, enabling new way to automate business processes and accelerate your digital transformation. What is as well very interesting is we try to show with our audience, to share with our audience important forecasts. For example, this forecast comes from Gartner directly that says that by 2024, the organization that will use hyper automation technologies will be able to lower their operational costs by 30%. The word hyper automation technology is not really, like we say, a way to express from the Gartner perspective to raise the bar of expectations regarding what you can achieve with automation technologies. Because if you just talk about automation technologies, you think more about what you can achieve today. With hyper automation, you raise your bar of expectation for the following 5 years. Of course, when you're talking about intelligent automation, we're talking about the full spectrum of services, from discovering automation opportunities up to automate something, up to optimize something else. And we're not talking about only about full automated services, but as well we're expressing here, so we included into this trend, the mix between human and bot, if you want, automated technology. So it's not only fully automated, what we are talking here, but as well a mix of both. What is as well very interesting in this chart is you can see the wide spectrum of what intelligent automation could mean, from a single task, probably served by one tool, or where there's a limited level of automation overall, up to process automation or orchestrated function, where you need to have a platform of tools in order to be able to deploy them, up to a full ecosystems and business operation that rely heavily on high level of automations. And we will see soon an example of it. Of course, the higher you go on the right, the higher are the potential benefits, but of course, the higher is the complexity of implementing something in that domain. What is really interesting is to see the different perspective. What does intelligent automation means for different players in the market? So if you focus on the next generation service provider like an Amazon, a Google, a Uber, for them, it's really a key enabler for their services. Think again about the cloud example before. Cloud is possible only because of the very highly automation that you are able to achieve in deploying servers, application instances. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. The same is valid for a lot of other services provided by these companies here. So for them, it's really a key enabler for their business, for their products. Then you have consulting company and as well the system integrators. From their perspective, this is again business, but a different kind of business, because the demand that a lot of companies have raised in the last years regarding consultancy and integration of automation capability has raised dramatically. So here we're talking about already a market in the billions for these specific companies. And then there is a perspective of the managed services or the providers of IT services, for example, like Tata, Fujitsu, and so on. For them, and you will see it very soon, is a key way to stay in the market. Why do I say that's a key way to stay in the market? You will see it soon in the next chart. But what it is in common anyway among all these providers is the commitment towards artificial intelligence and automation. If you look at the number in brackets, you can see the number declared from this company regarding the amount of people trained within their companies in artificial intelligence methods. So you can see that if you look on the consulting side, in the system integrators or the managed services, you see people in the thousands. There are no available numbers for the next generation providers, because for them it's clearly a key competitive advantage, and They are not proud to say how many people they have trained in AI. They have thousands, of course, but they don't share those numbers, while all these other companies are really proud to share the fact that they have trained people in the thousands. And of course, Bosch is as well heavily investing in intelligent automation and in artificial intelligence in general. So going to focusing now on the provider of managed services. Why is that important for us? Because we are the IT inside Bosch. So we are not a business field. We are an internal service provider. So we compare ourselves, of course, with external service providers in that domain. And if we look at what is happening in the market among the service provider, you can see that there is today a huge discrepancy between the best in class regarding automation and the worst in class regarding automation. So there are IT providers in the market that are able to achieve already an 80+% of automation in all these domains, from provisioning to access management to security to database administration. And there are some other providers that are really heavily relying still on manual processes. And the key element is that what is it possible to achieve in the meantime with intelligent automation? So the companies that have already on the orange line here have claimed to have achieved already this 30% of additional efficiency. So the expectation here is that if you don't reach this level soon, as an external service provider, you will be out of the market. And for us, as IT, of course, we want to be market-oriented and benchmark-oriented. So that could be one of the reasons why this trend is particularly important for us. But normally when we present the trend, we try to keep a very neutral presentation. Why? Because then the next step is exactly to collect this kind of perception among our executives or among our colleagues in the business area. So what we do after we have briefly presented the trend, of course, a little bit more detail than what I show you today, then we ask them to evaluate the importance of this trend from the strategic fit, from the potential and everything, for the investment for Bosch and for CI, meaning the internal IT, so us. And we try to categorize that according to these two dimensions. When we do this one, when we did this exercise in the last period regarding intelligent automation, this is the results that we received from around 70, 80 people that attended this session between IT people and business people. And you can see that although there are some differences, of course, there is a distribution. The overall weight is quite visible there. Why is that important? Because this will, if you want, remove from the equation the opinion of the single decision takers or the single executives. It will provide us a better picture. So we use, if you want, a kind of social intelligence here, involving as many people as possible that can give us a hint if this trend is really important or not. And secondary, because with this framework, we can have already suggestion regarding what possible role the internal IT should take towards this trend. For example, if the importance is considered relatively low for the IT and for Bosch, so if most of the votes will be in the observer area, much probably the suggested role that we have is to just keep an eye on the trend and not to do anything active there. While if it's a really more an IT trend than for a Bosch trend, probably it's important from our service delivery point of view. But as you can see here, in this case, the message was clear. The topic is extremely important for Bosch and extremely important for CI. That's why the suggestion here for this framework is that we should consider the enabler role in order to really be able to push this topic within the company as much as possible. So what happens next? Well, what happens next is that we try to map on the same chart all the activities that are already running within Bosch regarding intelligent automation. So in this case, the two dimensions have a similar meaning than what we have seen before, but instead of being a gut feeling, a perception, a potential, it is expressing the real investment that we have performed into a specific activity from the IT point of view and from the Bosch point of view. You can't read the names of the initiative for confidentiality reasons, but it gives anyway a picture, if you want a clear picture, about where the focus of our current activities is. You can see that there is a clear tendency there into this diagonal. That means that there are in different areas of automation shown, there are already quite significant investment from the Bosch side, but the strategic involvement from the IT so far has not been that heavy or that strong. So this gives you already, if you want, a kind of signal that there's a discrepancy between the importance that we perceive from this trend from the IT point of view and the commitment and the strategic investment that we have performed so far. So if you want, you can see it in this trend, the overall weight from the IT activities have been around this area, and what we propose as a reaction, because the voting was more on the upper right part, is to increase the investment and the commitment from the IT point of view towards this trend, and as well to use it as an enabler to create a more strategic answer to this trend within Bosch. What we discuss as well with this audience is where we are right now and what kind of actions we're going to take. And we divide them into different domains. For example, what we need to do in order to improve our knowledge related to these trends. What is our collaboration strategy? Do we want to do it ourselves? Do we want to involve partners? Do we have already partnership in place? Do we have competencies already inside the company? And of course, what do we need to do in order to be a real driver behind this topic? So again, I could not share with you, of course, the details about what we are going to do in any detail here, but at least that you get at least a bit of the feeling about how this framework works. So like you can see now, so this is a really as well a feedback result of the session that we have had recently. And you can clearly see that this type of presentation, this way of presenting the trends, have been valued in a quite positive way from our audience, much higher than what we received as a feedback in the past when we were just presenting a trend without doing the full analysis of what does it mean, what are the options, and what could be done in order to, what should we do in order to react better to this trend. And the method itself, so the method of rapid trend framing, had excellent feedback. So the people are really convinced that this is a much better way to address and discuss a trend. Where we think that we still need to improve a little bit is the way in which we discuss the proposed actions. Because if we have a round of 80 people, the voting and that part is quite efficient. But of course, if you start discussing in a wide audience about possible action with 80 plus people, of course, that is where we need probably to find a way to have a asynchronous conversation, probably using our social internal network or other platforms in order to facilitate this discussion in a much better way. But still, the overall feedback regarding this new way of managing trend has been overwhelmingly positive this year, and this is why we wanted to share with you as well what we are doing in this domain. And now we will see, thanks to Aqua Easy, an example of a really full cycle of a trend from the identified trends years ago up to the full development of a prototype and a real product nowadays. So, Arias, it's up to you.
Thank you very much, Guido. Good morning, Curitiba. Hello, everybody. Arias here, co-founder of Aqua Easy. Aqua Easy is a Bosch, internal Bosch startups. Before I start, first I will explain about the product, the solution, what are we talking about. And then from there, we will share with you also the journey, what we have done, what we have achieved, and what kind of problems, sharing session of what we have gone through all this journey. So first, Aqua Easy, we want to transform aquaculture from art to science, basically by providing a comprehensive AI-based digital platform. That is the vision and also the mission of Aqua Easy. So let's go to the domain a bit here about Aqua Easy, about aquaculture. If you see about this aquaculture industry, especially about shrimp, I know also in South America, shrimp is also prawn, a big industry, just like here in ASEAN and also in Asia. So number one is disease. And actually disease is caused by you need to have optimum water quality. So that is the second problems that they usually have, that you don't have a good water quality, and then you will have you will start to have disease. And on top of that, sometimes also you need to estimate, and usually this estimation is inaccurate, and the information also is inaccurate, and this mostly leads to a wrong decision. Like example, should you take your shrimp now? Should you harvest now, or should you stop now? Or is it a disease? Is it going good? And all those kind of estimation and information. And the last one that we found is basically there is a lot of gap between the researcher, the, the the academia, and also a big gap between them with the farmers itself, people on the ground. So what we have here is Aqua Easy. So basically, Aqua Easy is a 3S solutions: sensors, software, and services. So sensors is basically to monitor crucial water parameters, physical, chemical, biological. Software basically is you enter whatever information, biological information you have in the farm, like how much feed you give them, what kind of treatment do you give your fish or your shrimp, vitamin C or etc. And we also provide the services and the analytics, especially here providing insight based on the AI. So how I mean, how does it work? So basically we have two solutions here. Of course, the first one, as we know here, is on the right, is the one that putting a stationary sensors in each tank. So one sensors, one tank. And on the left, you can see here the more economical solutions where people go around and dip the sensors in the ponds, in the shrimp ponds, one by one. If you see here, this is the background, is a shrimp ponds in Indonesia, and in Vietnam also looks will be the same. You can see the aerators and all those. If you see the water is quite murky because the shrimps like this that kind of water. The software, it's in the cloud and you can access it from everywhere. And this is some screenshot of the software. And with regards to the analytics, we also have a few insights. So basically, it's on the biomass estimation. So basically, you can this is based on the AI, based on the data that we have for the last few years. So basically, we can estimate how many tons of shrimps you have in one ponds, and also we can give an insights about the anomaly, if there's any anomaly with regards to your shrimp growth. So is your shrimp optimal, or is it suboptimal, or are they growing nice, or are they going bad? So those kind of insights. This is also based on the data that we have acquired for the last years. And we have remote monitoring, and also we have this financial management, which is very important. So the farmers can check, should I sell now? Should I keep going and make them bigger? And if I sell later, that I will have more profits. So that is our solutions. And now I will start on the journey part. So like Melanie and Guido already shared before. So basically, in the essence, there are 4 steps here. So the first one actually is the ideation steps, and then the customer discovery, validation, and customer creation. So I'll start with the ideation. So at the beginning, when we start, actually, we were thinking very big that okay, antibiotics is a problem for aquaculture, and we want to solve this problem with fish farming, with salmon, grouper, all kind of fish. And then we go to the literature, market research. So why aquaculture? What is the major trends here? Basically, first we look at the business angle. So basically, you have a lot of major trends which is converging. So basically, first is the sustainability aspect of it. So more, and we cannot catch more fish from the ocean. The only way is to go to aquaculture. And at this point of time, aquaculture produce the least CO2 from all other proteins. That's number one. Number two, there are so many regulations. This is the angle that we come from, the antibiotics angle, because now you can see many produce, aquatic produce is having a lot of antibiotics. It has been rejected by EU, by the US, by Japan, and also disease and all those kind of things. So these are the so another trends, right? Disease and regulations. And the last one, is technology. So if you look at technologies, internet is everywhere now. And if you look at this also, IoT, 5G, AI, blockchain, now it's already like coming into the very, I would say, not so touched by technology industry, which is agriculture and aquaculture. So from this angle, basically, so we have seen that, oh yeah, actually, this antibiotics ideation might be really, really good, basically, right? So we did our research, we did our ideation, we did our research, but then we don't build directly. So we go out first. We look at the customer discovery side. So what we did, we went to all over the place. We went to aquaculture farm owners. We go to technician. We go to managers. We go to sensor manufacturers. We we attend so many aquaculture events. We talk to the feed companies. We talk to the hatcheries. We talk to everybody. Okay, and the more we talk to them, the more we see that actually uh, the idea might not be so precise. That everybody was telling us, uh, why don't you do shrimp? Why you do fish? Basically, you should go to shrimp. So this is one insight which is very, very, very important. And the second part is we start to learn how the domain, how the business, how the supply chain, how they do things on the ground. And from this angle, we can start seeing how actually that this technology can fit into the these aquaculture domains. So we start to see that, okay, now basically if you look at stream farming, it's a very heavy data driven industry basically. So we did these interviews, we collect all the pain points. So we interview about more than 300 customers, we get all the pain points, and we went to so many places, far away places, because farms usually is very, very far away. And then we did the customer validation. Okay, fine. Well, our customer says it's like that. Now, how about if we validate the, the 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 solution? So we start building it now, basically. So if you look here, this already our second MVP, basically sort of like a minimum viable product. The first one was like very cable and all those kind of things. And if you can see here that this is the prototype in action, what I want to share here is that uh, at that point of time when we went for the first deployment per se, that everything failed basically. So it was a very not so happy moments. But uh, we pick up, we go forward, and at the end we managed to deliver the prototype. Customer is happy, and we start building the AI from the data that we collected, and then the all those insights and the AI capability, and also if we talk about technology here is basically the edge computing, where we put everything to the edge, where connectivity sometimes is a problem. So all these things start to gel basically. Then from the business and now the technology come into the picture, and it looks very similar to the people on the ground. Then first customer we got the pilot, and then the second customer also want to do the pilot, and then here we are now that with our customers. If you can see here our footprints in ASEAN, we are uh, in Vietnam, if you look here, and also we are in Indonesia mostly. So that's a bit of sharing about the journey of Aqua Easy. Thank you very much. So I would like to return it to uh, Jeff for Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello, guys. I think thank you very much for all of you. Yeah, was I think very interesting points that you touch here. Now is the time for I think for us to discuss a little bit what we saw. So please, if you have questions, we are more than glad to include here. But let's beginning with Guido. Guido, I think one is normally one common question with COVID-19. So, how COVID will impact the tech trends? What's your opinion?
So the impact of COVID, you mean? Yeah. Clearly, what we have seen is that in the last period, due to COVID, we have a higher attention on everything that can bring savings in some industries, at least. So some industries, including manufacturing, of course, and companies like Bosch, have a higher focus on technology that can bring savings, and intelligent automation is a good example. So we addressed that before going deep into the COVID period, but we've seen in the last months a huge increase in interest in that area. While other companies and other industries, depending on, of course, on their situation, they are more focused on the trends that are helping the digital transformation, for example. So there are very two different groups of reaction, different reaction types: cost-related trends on one side and digital transformations for the others. So this is, if you want to see from the higher level point of view.
Okay, good. And one that I then will drive to Melanie. Melanie, you show the proof of concept journey. Yeah. So more or less, how long it takes, and what your experience during these different parts of this kind of journey.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on many factors. For example, it depends on the complexity of the technology. Think about blockchain. We have heard about the concept of blockchain many years ago already. And at the moment, besides cryptocurrencies, there are only a few use cases more or less fully developed. Huh? But the technical implementation is not the challenge with blockchain, but the fact that so many different parties need to collaborate with each other and agree on a common design. And this is very challenging. But still, the concept of blockchain is very powerful and has a huge economical and social potential. Then think about artificial intelligence. Our life is full of use cases for artificial intelligence, and the implementation is not that complex. So therefore, we are much further. For example, in artificial intelligence, our department needs, in average, 22 working days to deliver a first proof of concept.
Good. And as you mentioned, it, some technologies, like blockchain, AI, and so on. So I would like you to go back to Guido, and I know that you have a whole experience to deal with technology. So my question to be, Guido, what is till now, of course, what you are big disappointed with the technology, and which one was a big surprise for you?
Okay, the biggest disappointment for me was much probably a few years ago, virtual reality and augmented reality. So we had a period where I was trying to push it and was really fully convinced that this was a couple of years ahead of us and everything, and the potential for industries and everything was really high. Thank God our CIO had another opinion and he was not convinced about that, so we didn't invest that much. But it was a personal disappointment because, of course, I was fully convinced about that potential in a very short period of time. It's anyway coming, it's getting there, but it's still not where it was supposed to be already years ago. So you cannot get everything right, of course, but for me it was a kind of disappointment. I was expecting more. What for me was a positive surprise is I think one of the first trends analysis that I did within Bosch was related to IoT, and that was in 2012. At that time, nobody in the company was talking about IoT, and IoT didn't have even meaning within Bosch. So we were able to bring the attention to this topic higher and higher in our hierarchies, in our decision makers, up to the point where Bosch invested heavily in new software, in a cloud platform and everything. So this is really something where you can see the effect of this work years later, where you see what has been happening within Bosch in the last years, where everyone now is talking about even becoming an IoT company. So that is one of the positive surprises that you can mention, I think.
Good. And I don't know if you agree to me, Guido, about virtual reality. I think now with 5G, yeah, I
Mhm.
think would be
That is
maybe we
enabled.
boost that. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I think
Sometimes you need to wait. It's like the iPhone, you know. If people would think about the iPhone per se, it was not really something dramatically new because it has only a new technology. It was a combination of multiple technologies that allowed to produce the first iPhone. Um, I think it was 2006, whatever. But it was not really per se one single technology. It was a mix of different technology at the right time that enables you to really do the big jump. So the same could
yeah.
happen with virtual reality and augmented reality soon. Yeah.
And you make me remember one was at university, and that means more than 30 years ago, I saw in the physics lab holography, and everybody
Mhm.
saw maybe in 10 years will be holography. Until now, is something
No.
that
Yeah.
is still fiction.
Yeah, think about AI. So we think always about innovation as a kind of flat or linear curve. But AI, there were periods in the past where in the 70s, then again in the 90s, where AI was supposed to change the world the year after, and then it dropped as an interest until the technology and the maturing of all the other things like big data and all the enabling technologies and additional computing power, new algorithms made really AI as powerful as it is today. So, and suddenly it is worldwide importance. Of course. Yeah. Good point.
Great. Uh, Thank you. So going to Asia. So Aris, your journey with your startup. So what was your main challenges till now?
Okay, thanks, Jeff. So, a bit of sharing. So basically, our biggest challenges at the beginning was about this connection between technology and about the business. So we as Bosch, all our background mostly is from the technology angle. So we understand AI, we understand this blockchain, we understand all those chatbots and edge computing, 5G. But when you talk to the farmers, that's different, very different story. So they don't understand all these things. So how you translate this uh, into a very digestible information is also very crucial, basically. So this is one of the point that actually technology can transform a lot in this domain, in this business, uh, just that it's not reaching them yet. So this is one of the uh, how to say challenges, huge challenges that we are facing.
Good. And talk about the scaling. These challenges. How you see the scaling of the solution? What your expectation related to scaling this as a solution, maybe a global solution, so on. What you see the next
Okay,
steps for that?
okay. So if you look at this shrimp business, it's actually uh, uh, it's very big industry even compared to salmon. Okay, and this industry is also very big in Asia, ASEAN, India, China, every country which is along the equator line, so also including Brazil, Ecuador, especially Ecuador, and also Mexico and many South American countries. So this is a big industry, number one. So scalability is there. Number two is that we want to play on the AI, on the data side. So this we have seen that is also very scalable. With regards to hardware, it's also Bosch invented for life. So we are also uh, having those capabilities. So I think with regards to scalability, this will scalable a lot, basically.
Good. And to be more generical, and maybe I go back to Melanie, because then you have the desire of course, the process is to have really a scalable solution in the market and so on. And also Bosch as a big company, of course, you are doing things, but maybe the business wants also to use the solutions for scalable products. So how you see this threshold between the prototyping and ready solutions to go to the market? How we are dealing with that?
So this actually depends again on the technology, but the best case is that we take the prototype, which is successfully demonstrated, that we can do it, yeah, and that it makes sense, yeah. Then we transfer it to the associates, which should be take care of the solution when it's a real product, yeah. And then we think about, could we use this solution also in another branch or always in another society? It depends, yeah. But the idea is to have one product which could scale very high, that we can use it more often. This is also the goal of Bosch, and in that one we are very good.
Good. And looking here, the questions, I have one question for Berlin. From Veronica, is she asking you, Guido, about the relevance of nanoprinting? You could say something about that?
Yep. So we did already, we raised the importance of 3D printing in all its different variation already years ago, because of course, nanoprinting is one of the examples of what you can do with 3D printing, of course, printing even tissues or even microprocessors, stuff like that. So that is clearly a very important technology, and it's coming. We personally, so as pre-development, we didn't invested in that area because it's a technology traditionally belonging to the production IT. And this is not the domain where the IT of Bosch is heavily involved. So we are more in a central, if you want, IT function. But we clearly see that as a very high potential technology, together with all the other 3D printing technologies. Today, you don't see a lot of application of 3D printing in the traditional domains where Bosch is active, in automotive or production of appliances. But in other areas, in other industries like airplane manufacturing, for example, if you look at the latest Airbus airplane, 30% of the parts of this huge plane are all produced with 3D printing. So we're talking about already a technology that has changed already other industry. Or ear implants, for example. Ear implants are already printed in 80% of the cases 3D, adjusted to your specific ear, that is scanned and with models and everything. So 3D printing have already changed a lot of industry. Now it's coming heavily into the healthcare solution in order to really even print parts of organs or part of tissues and everything with real cells or fake cells. So it's really has a potential to change a lot. Not immediately relevant for all the domains of Bosch, but clearly a very important technology.
Good. Great. One thing that here that there's one thing that I would like to mention, is Fernando asking about some solutions for sensors in the mining industry. I will ask him I will talk with him later, because we have the guys from mining here, and then we can talk more about specifically how to make sensors in equipments, and that's one question, sort of retrofit. So there are a lot of cases that you like to have intelligence in some things that you need to have this. You need to put intelligence in the equipment. But I don't know if you like to mention any kind of situations like that for that we need to make equipments intelligent. Anything from you that like to mention about that? Guido or Aries, because I think in your because normally your projects, we are talking in the level of the not the equipment per se, yeah, but more in the solutions that you can think. So only checking if you have any situation that you need to go on. If not, I think that one thing that I think would be interesting to ask to maybe to I think also to Guido, but of course Aries and Melanie can say about crystal ball. Yeah, we are talking a lot the next 1-2 years, but let's take let's go the time and from 5 to 10 years from now. So Guido, and also other opinions, what do you think would be the technology that will make big difference and for for us?
Yeah, normally when we talk about 5 to 10 years, like you said, it thinks more crystal ball than really provision, realistic, because normally it's very, very difficult to predict what happens in 5 to 10 years. I did the exercise the other way around multiple times, showing what was our 10 years ago. And if people don't realize that 10 years ago, for example, a few years ago, it was showing that 10 years ago there was no LCD screens, there was no smartphone, whatever, stuff like that. And people say, wow, it changed a lot already in 10 years. So this 10 years jump is really difficult. But in this case, I think that at least for one technology, it's clear, in my opinion, that the 5 to 10 years, it has a huge possibility, and it is, of course, artificial intelligence. So if you see already what was the development in the last couple of years, I think in 10 years, we will really have intelligent co-workers, artificial intelligent co-workers, functions within the company that are really fully AIs, where you will have, I don't know, a marketing manager that is actually not a real person, but it is an artificial intelligent agent that works with us and with you every day, interacting like we're doing today, more or less, and hearing and listening into our conversation and interacting with us. So this is really has the potential to change completely how we live and how we work in the next 5 to 10 years, definitely.
Okay. And Melanie and Aris, do you have any other guess about technology, or we are with Guido?
I'm 100% with Guido.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I
Aris,
would be
for
very
me,
looking at
surprised. We could open a bet for that. Let's open one.
see, for me, same. It will be AI. However, there will be the second one, which is the 5G, because now if you look at how in Asia how it works, yeah, usually we skip the phone line steps. We go immediately to 3G and then 4G, and of course then will be 5G. So if you go to all these farms, which is quite far and quite outside, first they don't have a telephone line. However, they do have GSM, they do have 4G. So this is unique because you don't have telephone line, but you do have handphone line. So this also will be a game changer, and with all those AI that you need to be done on the edge, on the edge of the device, then this become even more and more important.
Okay, good, good. And Guido, you make me think about I saw a very fun thing some time ago is about what people in the 19th century see about technology, and everything was under the sea, because that time the sea was the mysteries, and then so everything will work under the sea. So that's is really very funny how things change. So,
Yeah,
guys, I would like then, because I think we don't have another questions here, Eh, and then I would like it to then to finalize to heard you some words about see somebody here that's listening to us. You start trend scouting. You started to think about this journey, or we will start something with startups and maybe in your areas. What will be the suggestions for the ones that you start that? So Aris, please, what are the tips that you give people that you create a startup and you looking for agro business and others relate to that?
Okay, so I'll just focus with regards to the innovations in this case.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
first, get a lot of ideas. That is number one, and go outside and validate those ideas. That is extremely important. Sorry to say, but technology comes second. First, you must get the business right, and if there is a fit, then technology will come in. Yeah, Guido, maybe you want to add
Okay.
anything, Melanie?
no, you're totally right.
Melanie,
So,
you,
well, one of the biggest mistakes that the people will focus on your technology. So the value that you bring with your solution should be the key before you start considering the technology. Yeah, totally agree.
yeah.
Yeah, the customer
By the
needs to be
way,
in the focus.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I think I'd like to hear you because I see sometimes that and of course is business is the business that you need to think how to find customers, and then technology is commodity. Yeah, that's a risky because of course if you see it's commodity, you don't see Google and others with so many good specialists. So I think I think technology is super necessary. Yeah, is the key of your success. But of course, you need to you have a business for the technology. Yeah, and sometimes you think no, you don't need to think for technology. You buy that. Yeah, I don't know, Guido, what's your opinion on that? That's
No, I
is
mean,
I think
yeah, sooner or later, all technologies will become commodities, But before they reach the commodities level, they are key differentiators. So
yeah.
that's why you should always consider when you're doing something new. There could be that they say the technology really bringing you in a new position in the market or bringing a value that was not possible before, and that it could be that in 10 years it's a commodity. So you should not underestimate technology, but like Arya says, it should not be your unique starting point and your only focus, because if you lose the perspective of the value that you are generating, your customers and the business case and the use cases, then the technology alone will not save you. So there are a lot of examples of wonderful technology that was never implemented properly or not with the focus of the customer, and then it came only 10 years later. So the focus is important, and of course, technology can be a differentiating factor. So Bosch is a good example of having used technology as differentiating factors for decades, actually. So.
Good. For Melanie, about the journey, some tips, additional tips for this the innovation journey from your side.
I think a good idea is, and it's very important, to talk to different people, not always to the business people, not always to the technical people, include everybody. Then you get a good overview of this technology or of this problem and to approach it from different perspectives. Take everybody in. Yeah.
Great.
Not rely on
Uh,
only one opinion. Never ever.
okay, and Guido, maybe some guys here we started to think about to make tech trend scout. So, what's your guideline for them?
So first of all, if anyone, so it's an open invitation for everyone that is interested into more deeply discussion regarding technology scouting. So just contact me, internal or external. We are even open to exchange. So it's not that we just close if you want community. So if you want to do anything in that area and you want to start from scratch, or if you want to enhance based on what we are already doing, just contact us and we'll be more than happy to help you and collaborate with you, internal or externals, because I think always very helpful for both sides here to see the different perspectives and to see ideas on different way of doing things in other companies or in other divisions or in other regions. So if you want to do that in your region or your company or your division, just contact us and we will make sure that we have a profitable conversation for both of us.
And we have a very important, good technology on that is LinkedIn. Yeah, so I think everybody's LinkedIn here. So of course, feel free to contact us. And then with your what you're saying here, Guido, make you think about the other question, because that is something interesting. Because as you mentioned, Bosch it was a big company with a great success to have scaling technology products and so on. But everybody's saying but it's time to have more more connection with external market. Yeah. So how you see this process of co-innovation with Bosch with partners. So how you see the things progressing, and and that's why I would like you to see your what's happened at Bosch and your own perspective how things should go. So and maybe Melanie, you can be the first one.
So we also have the task to get some good partner management. So we are looking for universities who are which are doing research and development. So, for example, the IT faculties in Asia, they are very good in artificial intelligence. Yeah, so we try to make there some co-innovation. We also have the possibility to do a PhD at our company. We have also connections to the corporate research. Maybe you know them. They are big research part of Bosch. So we collaborate with them, exchange ideas, exchange some knowledge. Yeah. So we are quite open to the external world. Of course, it should be a win-win situation. So we would like to have something, and it should be not only one way. Yeah, it's both ways. Yeah, but we are very open to participate in university programs or to get some universities in our company. Of course, virtual now, but still we have a lot to people who are interested in innovation management, in startups, in trend scouting. Just approach us, and then we find a way to come together.
Okay, good. And Aries, in the world of startup world, yeah, and other connections, how you see that in Asia and you personally?
Okay, for this one, I think we need to see things differently. That we cannot stand alone. Now the mindset must be building an ecosystem. So you must look this whole thing as an ecosystem building. So we are not building only one part of it, but we are combining everything with everybody, where everybody will have a win-win situation. So from the Asia perspective, also that we see this, a lot of these things are happening. So a lot of startups like collaborating. Also here we with Bosch, also we are collaborating a lot with external parties. So yes, I think it should be on an ecosystem, on a more collaborative model.
Great. Thank you. So, Guido, your time.
Yeah, so personally, so I think that in the meantime, Bosch has realized that we cannot just do things on our own like we were doing before. I think that the first recognition of that was already years ago, when we were discussing years and years ago what does it mean to, for example, to implement or develop autonomous driving for a company. That is an investment that is in hours into the testing and everything that no single company can really sustain completely. So that's, in order to really do a progression in that domain, you need to search for alliances, and this is what you could see already in the last years of Bosch, where we have established a partnership and collaboration with Daimler and a lot of other companies, NVIDIA and others, in order to really co-develop something. So this is really something that has changed, although it's still very difficult from a cultural point of view. So you can still see that in most of the cases, a lot of divisions in Bosch prefer to develop something internally in order to have a full ownership of the intellectual capital and everything that is associated. So it's still part of our cultural transformation. We have started, but I think that it's still a long way to go before we reach the level that is needed in order to be able to be relevant players in different ecosystems, like Ares was mentioning. So when you really play openly, in order to be part of a bigger ecosystem, you need to be able to play even a secondary role. And that is not easy culturally, to just be a participant and not be in full control like Bosch is used to. So this is the part of the change that we are happening. So I'm deeply convinced that we have realized the need and we are transforming. We are not there yet where we should be, but we are working towards that. Definitely.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much for that. I think it was very interesting topic for us discussing. I think we can, in the future, have more other events, talk more specific some topics, maybe in some technologies that we are discussing here, and so great. But before to finish that, I would like to ask for the ones that are in the section, if possible, to answer we have a feedback survey. If you could do that, it would be great, or good feedback for us. And also, if you want, you can also follow our community, and then you can see others events that we have a very cool also other events during this month, and of course we have planned for others. So thank you very much. And thank you very much. So we are very proud to receive you. So we have a worldwide, so Asia, Stuttgart, here in Brazil. Our colleagues from Berlin, United States. So that's the technology, yeah. So only technology is
Yeah.
make that possible, yeah. In the past, we need to be famous actors to have this kind of chances to be worldwide seen. Yeah. Bye bye, guys. Thank you very much. It was great, and see you again somehow.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
Bye bye.